Hey everybody, what's up? It's Tim Lee Michael, and it's time to do another quick 5-minute tutorial for you guys. Now today we're going to take a look at looking at 3D shapes. And 3D shapes are really going to play an important role as you progress as an artist. So I'm just going to show you a couple techniques that I learned from a hero of mine named Mark Kistler from Mark Kistler's Imagination Station. It was on PBS when I was a little kid. It was awesome. And I'm going to teach you a little bit about drawing squares, rectangles and circles, and we're going to turn these into 3D forms down here. Now the basic premise of this is a square is going to become a cube. This rectangle we're going to turn into a cylinder, and I'm probably going to be spelling and then this one's going to be a sphere. Okay, I became an artist because I spelled really well, obviously. Yeah, okay. So anyway, let's take a look at the idea of the cube. Now, obviously, you guys may have seen this technique where you take a square, and then you draw another square behind it, like this, and then you connect these points like this, and that makes up your cube. Now, to me, this looks a little bit more like an ice cube, because, of course, it is see-through. And sometimes you don't want it to be see-through, and sometimes you want to do a different shape. So another way that Mark Kistler taught is that you make two dots, and then you make a top dot and a bottom dot, and you draw connecting lines to each one of these dots like this. And then you can draw down from them like this, and then you can connect them down below. And depending on some of the other techniques that we'll cover in the future, like infinity triangles and things like that, this will depend on how far you bring this bottom line down, depending on how far out you're... Okay, anyway, we'll cover that in a different video. When it comes to this rectangle that we want to turn into, alright, well think about this, Campbell's Chicken Noodle. If I was to put a label here, and I was to say a big C for Campbell's Chicken Noodle on it, how would you draw that can in a 3D form? Well, if you tilt the can forward, it has a rounded surface on the top, so what you can do is you can draw an oval, and then draw down from that oval like this, and then close that oval on the bottom with a half of the oval. So half of this circle here, or oval here, needs to be exactly the same on the bottom here. Now if you want to put a label on it, you need to follow that same shape here, and then connect this line in the exact same level as this line, and there you go. And then if you want to draw your C on there for Campbell's Chicken Noodle that your mama gives you while you're sick, well, or that you can get yourself because you are a person who can take good care of yourself, then there you go. Now, let's take a look finally at the sphere. Sphere is a little different, obviously. Sphere comes down to shading, and we'll talk about shading and technique like that more in the future. But the basic premise of this is if I was to draw a shape like this, and we've talked about this in our eyeball tutorial as well, but if I draw a shape like this and I decide I want it to look like it's rotating somewhere, I need to give it some shape and form. And to do that, I got to think about it like a bit of a beach ball or a volleyball. So I can draw these lines around it, kind of like I did here with the cylinder here. But I'm going to continue these lines and round them out more as they go around this ball. And it's an awful lot like a beach ball. Like this would be painted red, this one would be green, this one would be blue, this one would be white, you know, and it goes on around so on and so forth. And this is why I showed you guys before the idea of drawing an eyeball using this rounded shape. So of course that wasn't perfect at all shape, but then when I draw the form going like this and maybe looking up like this, then you can take this form and you can figure out exactly where to draw your iris. Now, in our next video, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you guys a technique for figuring out how this fits where it's supposed to and how big this square should be. It's going to be going into our perspective talk a little bit more, but I think since we've been talking about eyes in our videos, coming back to that and covering that in the next video will be pretty helpful for you guys. So that is just a general idea, and as we get into some future videos, we're going to do some drawings like Mark Kistler used to do. We'll turn these into little can monsters and things like that, and I'll show you a little bit more. But once again, so you just draw two dots, 3, 4, and you can draw it as tall or as low as you want, and then when you draw it down and you put a perfect connecting line from here to here, you draw these the exact same way or parallel on each side. It should come off looking like a really nice rectangle or cube or whatever you're trying to build out of that. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Practice a little bit. We're going to be back with more here soon. Check out my different videos here on my page. Man, I am so tongue-twisted. And don't forget, I have a Patreon. Just click on the link in the description below if you want to support me on Patreon and get to see my videos before they come out here on YouTube. You early people, we love you guys. And thank you so much for supporting me here. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Facebook at Tim Lee Michael and on Instagram as Tim Lee Michael. All right, guys, God bless you. I'll see you next time.